on Public Works and the proposed Australian Electoral Commission proposed fit-out of new leased premises at 26 Narellan Street, Canberra in the ACT. In accordance with the committee's resolution, this hearing will be broadcast on the Parliament's website, and the proof and official transcripts of proceedings will be published on the Parliament's website. I also remind members of the media who may be present or listening on the web of the need to fairly and accurately report the proceedings of the committee. My name's Graham Perrott. I'm the chair of the committee, coming to you from Ngunnawal land in the southern suburb of Brisbane, and I'll have the rest of the committee introduce themselves, starting with the deputy chair.
Thank you, Chair. Andrew Wilcox, federal member for Dawson, located on the central Queensland coast, coming to you from beautiful Bowen.
All right, to New South Wales.
Maria Kovacic, Senator for New South Wales.
And then in the ACT.
Dave Smith, member for Bean in the ACT.
Tony Zappia, member for Macon and from South Australia.
And then to Western Australia. I can see Mrs Roberts is there, the member for Pearce in Western Australia. I now welcome...
This is coming to federal member for Pearce in Western Australia. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. I now welcome representatives from the Australian Electoral Commission to give evidence for the Hansard record. Would you please each state your full name and the capacity in which you appear?
Thank you, Chair. My name is Rachel Spalding. I'm the First Assistant Commissioner at the Australian Electoral Commission.
Mr William Mueller, Senior Director, Legal Services and Property at the Australian Electoral Commission.
Ms Jane Alexander, Director of Davenport Campbell Interior Designers.
Mr James Ossington, Executive Director of WT Partnership.
Miss Ashley Batten, Senior Project Manager, Jones Lang LaSalle.
Thanks, Ms Batten. Although the committee does not require you to give evidence under oath, I should advise you that these hearings are formal proceedings of the Parliament. Consequently, they warrant the same respect as proceedings of the Parliament itself. Giving false or misleading evidence is a serious matter and may be regarded as contempt of Parliament. When we normally do these inquiries, if the committee members have any conflicts of interest, we normally declare those. So obviously with this, we've all got an interest in you guys doing your job well, although me less so since I'm not standing at the next election. But I must say, in my 20 years of dealing with the A.E.C, it's always been incredibly seamless, professional, and nothing but respect. And I should also, I guess, point out that two of my sisters have worked for the A.E.C over the years. Ms Spalding, would you care to make some brief introductory remarks, or not as brief as you want them to be, before we proceed to questions?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity to present the project for approval. I'm the project sponsor of the proposed fit-out at 26 Narellan Street, Canberra City, and the relocation of our current site at 10 to 12 Mort Street, also in the Canberra City. My intention is to take you through the foundational basis for the project, including the A.E.C's role as an independent statutory agency, the key themes that describe how we do our work, and to draw the connection between the key themes of our work and the proposed fit-out and lease. The A.E.C's role is to deliver the franchise and Australian citizens' right to vote as established in law. And of course, the delivery of the franchise is a multifaceted undertaking. And as you may have heard the Electoral Commissioner say, outside of the government response to COVID, a federal election is the largest peacetime operation in Australia. It's also an interesting time to appear before this committee, considering the point in the cycle that we are currently in, with an election due on or before the 17th of May. And confirming for this committee, the A.E.C is certainly in event delivery mode. Without wanting to oversimplify our role, it's helpful to think of the A.E.C undertaking three categories of work: operational delivery of elections, federal elections, referendums, by-elections, elections on behalf of the Torres Strait Regional Authority, and industrial election ballots or union elections. These elections are enabled by the maintenance of an electoral roll, currently close to 18 million people. Secondly, our regulatory work, including the delivery of the Funding and Disclosure Program, the Authorisation Scheme and the Register of Political Parties, and of course the enabling services that support these functions. The role requires a national footprint, and the AEC manages a portfolio of 76 business-as-usual properties across Australia. The Canberra office is both the largest office and also the central coordinating point for all of the AEC's work. Delivery of these roles is a large ongoing operation, and the current external environment generates new logistical and delivery challenges. With the different categories of work come different ways of working. We know this because of our lived experience and, very importantly, engagement with our staff. To get the proposed fit-out design to this point, we've engaged and consulted with AEC staff, the purpose being to provide a process by which AEC staff can explain to the project team how it is that they work, what works well currently, challenges that they see in the future, and opportunities that a new workplace may offer. Overwhelmingly, this feedback has focused on a desire for a workplace that supports productivity and enhances our ability to connect and collaborate with our colleagues, that provides open and flexible accommodation, that supports diversity and inclusion, and enables the workspace to respond to the future changes and demands. We also require the ability to surge in terms of total numbers during event delivery. And as operational delivery is a national concern, the need to engage with colleagues across the AEC footprint drives a requirement to have a fit-for-purpose audiovisual system. We're fortunate to have recently delivered fit-outs in AEC's offices in Melbourne and Brisbane. The fit-outs in these offices reflect the co-design process that provided staff with an opportunity to highlight the key features of a workplace that would work well for them. And survey responses following the fit-out indicate a high level of satisfaction. We're following the same approach in the Canberra accommodation project as well. The total cost of the fit-out is $35.9 million. This is a significant investment, and there are two aspects of this that I would like to highlight to you. The first is that we have approval for a 15-year lease of Narellan Street. Our intention is that this initial fit-out is of a quality that requires minimal additional capital investment over the course of the lease. And secondly, the cost is within the lease incentive amount, meaning that the AEC will not need to fund the works that we are seeking approval for from our current capital budget. The AEC has undertaken a comprehensive procurement, evaluation and project planning process to arrive at this point. In November 2023, the AEC and the Department of Employment and Workplace Relations approached the market to source new accommodation for staff in Canberra. The purpose of the joint approach to market being to ensure that both the AEC and the department were able to leverage the combined required net lettable area and provide the best test of the market. The approach to market provided an option where a joint leasing arrangement was entered into, or that the AEC and the department enter separate leases. The joint approach to market activity determined that 26 Narellan Street in Canberra presented the best overall value for money for the Commonwealth and for the AEC. On this basis, the AEC sought and obtained lease endorsement from the Minister for Finance in November 2024. The AEC plans to start construction of the fit-out in 2026. As this project is an integrated fit-out, it will occur alongside the landlord's base building works and is expected to take 14 months to complete. While the dates of federal elections are uncertain beyond a general awareness of election windows, the AEC needs to ensure that the project does not disrupt election readiness. To help manage this risk, the AEC negotiated a lease extension with the landlord at our current site, 10 to 12 Mort Street in the Canberra city. This arrangement provides for the AEC to manage operational and financial risk in circumstances where the dates of future electoral events are not known. The relocation to 26 Narellan Street will consolidate staff into a single site, delivering a flexible, agile and contemporary fit-out with greater emphasis on open plan collaboration spaces, staff interaction and improved wellbeing that's fit for the purpose of the AEC. The fit-out will result in a usable space of 13,863 square metres. The fit-out will provide 1,046 work points to accommodate up to 1,308 staff at an 8 to 10 work point to occupant ratio and 1,494 staff at a 7 to 10 ratio, with the ability also to accommodate an increase in the staffing footprint to accommodate a further 248 work points to meet the AEC's need to surge during election periods. The new site is well positioned within the Canberra Central Business District, within walking distance to the retail precinct, cycle paths, public transport routes and public parking facilities. Employees and visitors can easily access the office regardless of their preferred mode of transport. The new site comprises a 10-storey edifice featuring contemporary amenities. The structure is strategically situated to provide AEC staff with convenient access to public transport, ample public parking and access to green spaces. The integration of base building with the fit-out will enable services and security needs to be met within the parameters of the base building. By listening to our staff and working closely with the design team, we've been able to ensure the proposed fit-out is designed to respond to the AEC's current and future work needs. I'd like to thank you for your time today and welcome any questions you have.
Thank you, Ms Spalding. I'll go to the Deputy Chair to kick off questions.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you to the AEC for their presentation. My question is, do you see online voting happening in the future? And if so, what will this do to the AEC office space requirement?
Thank you, Deputy Chair, for the question. The Australian Electoral Commission undertakes election delivery in accordance with the Commonwealth Electoral Act. We will continue to do that in whatever form that legislative basis takes. I don't intend to speculate on what the Parliament may or may not do with respect to future legislative amendments, but I can assure you that the fit-out, the flexibility that we have brought into the design work is intended to see the AEC positioned to undertake its work now and into the future.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Ms Spalding, just further to that question, are the any of the other elections you administer, such as union elections or the Torres Strait, have any of them entered into electronic voting?
There are a range of ways in which voting is delivered by the AEC. Mr Mueller can respond.
Thank you, Chair. The answer to the question is no. The AEC does not offer online voting in relation to any of the types of elections it delivers. There is an option in the industrial election ballot space for unions or other groups who are using the AEC, or well, who are seeking to run elections to seek approval from the Fair Work Commission to have those ballots run by private agents. In those cases, some of those may be run online, but they're not run by the AEC.
Okay, because yeah, it was a Dorothy Dixon, because I certainly had seen that, but that's what it is. It's a subcontract if they get approval.
From the Fair Work Commission, yes, Chair.
Okay, all right. There you go, Andrew. So it does occur in some aspect, but not, they're not taking away the pencils just yet. Hey, just while we're on tapping into that vein, the voice referendum, there was much social media about people taking pens into polling booths. Any comment on that process at all? I know we're drifting off our brief here, but it was taking up a lot of my airtime during the lead up to that. But I seem to recall that it went through without the sky collapsing.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I have nothing additional to add to your observations. It is an option for people to vote using a pen.
All right. Okay, Deputy Chair. So we'll go to Senator Kovacic.
Thank you, and thank you for the information you've provided this morning, particularly in relation to best value for money. My question relates to your comments around the National Office being the central coordinating point. I'm interested to get an understanding of how that will be impacted, or if there are impacts, particularly during election cycles when the number of people you have increases, when we actually have a decrease in the number of work points?
Thank you, Senator. The arrangements that we are proposing to put in place here provide, as I said, for 1,046 work points in the first instance, and the density ratios that we contemplate, initially 8 to 10, providing for 1,308 staff, with the possibility using the design to include an additional 248 work points, means that the national office of the A.E.C. will be better provided for in terms of that capacity under the proposed project.
Okay, so there won't be any reduction in your capacity at those peak periods, particularly in those peak periods?
No, Senator.
And any impacts like to the officers as we're sort of accommodating this project and the timeline? So have you sort of, how is that being managed as we transition from Mort Street over to Narellan Street?
Sorry, could you just, the impact on staff, did you say?
Yeah, and capacity. So your capacity. So let's just say if we were to have, let's just say we were to have a federal election during the period where you are transitioning from Mort to Narellan Street, what would be the impacts and what would we need to do?
Thank you very much. So I'll pass to Mr Mueller, who can talk through the sort of election window that we are considering and the way in which we're looking to schedule the fit-out itself, and the space that then makes available for the transition. I'd note, to give you a level of comfort, that the two sites, our current site and the proposed site, are 400 metres apart. And we're anticipating, regardless of whether we're close to the event window, making that transition process as seamless as possible for staff. To the extent it's possible, we anticipate packing up one day and having them able to arrive at the new offices immediately thereafter. But Mr Mueller can provide detail about how we've got to there.
Thank you, Ms Spalding. Our lease arrangements at our current site offer us quite a lot of flexibility in terms of the timing of our move. So we have in our lease at the moment, which has the term ends on the 24th of March 2030, but it has an early surrender window. And that early surrender window needs to be exercised by the 30th of June 2027, between September 2027 and March of 2028. That's when we would be surrendering the building. That gives us the ability to understand how the project of the fit-out is progressing and make a decision at that point as to whether we wish to surrender the building early or to hold the lease of 10 and 12 Mort Street. There are some aspects around how all of that operates and the financials that are attached to it that I'd be happy to take the committee through in an in-camera hearing. But suffice to say that we are confident that we won't be without a home for any period and that we're able to be informed about how things are going and make a decision on when we want to relocate that works for whenever it is that a federal election is held.
Thank you. And just my last question, which is probably a quick one. I note that you anticipate roughly 100 staff increase for the Indigo program or project. How many additional staff or temporary staff do you tend to have during a federal election event, as we call it, in the national office?
Thank you, Senator. It is a very, very tricky question to answer. As we head towards being election ready, we're thinking about the roles where we need additional support. Some of those are in national office, some of those will be across the A.E.C's footprint. Our surge numbers at the moment are approximately 600 non-ongoing positions, which are then supplemented by quite a number of casuals as well. In terms of an exact number, I'm not sure that I can give you that
That's
today.
Okay. It's just sort of a rough guide.
Yeah. So we're looking. I think it's around 200 in national office, but that changes on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. Okay. Now that gives me a good sense. Thank you. No further questions from me, Chair.
Thank you, Senator. The member for Bean.
Thanks, Chair. Connected to the senator's questions, how many work points are there in the Mort Street offices at the moment for A.E.C staff?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. There's 1,249.
1249, and how many staff are there with their home base being Mort Street?
So there are 1,334 national office positions.
So there's already a little bit of a gap between
Yes.
staffing, which so my next question will be, what's the rough breakdown of staff working from home, or the occupancy rate of the Mort Street offices?
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. There's no short answer to that because the way in which we operate changes so much over different parts of the cycle. So we have a relatively small number of people who have access to formal flexible working arrangements, but the activities that we undertake will see people undertaking national office work outside of national office, travelling to other parts of our footprint at various points in time. And for that reason, the way in which we have considered the fit out and thought about the ways to use it, we judge that at all points in the cycle, because of the range of different things our people will be doing across the functions and at different stages of the cycle, they will be able to be accommodated in the new fit out better in many respects than they're accommodated in the current fit out.
Thanks, Ms. Spalding. I imagine then that the existing ratio you wouldn't have more than 80% of staff in the office at one time.
We're very comfortable planning to an 8 to 10 ratio.
Yeah.
It's sort of the reality over all points of the cycle, with people on leave, unscheduled absences, travelling on duty. 8 to 10 is an effective planning parameter for us.
And I mean, obviously the issue is the closer you are to those numbers, the tighter those workspaces are. And look, connected with that, how much staff engagement has there been about the move, the new fit outs, the number of work points and the like?
Thanks, Mr. Smith. I'll hand over to Mr. Mueller to take you through the detail of this. Engaging with staff on this project is, one of the more rewarding aspects of it. It's an opportunity to show staff the way in which we are seeking to position them to do their best and be their best in the workplace. We've been fortunate in some respects to have been working through this project for a period of time, and so the engagement stretches back several years as we've worked through the twists and turns of this particular procurement. We've also undertaken fit-outs in several of our state offices, and the way in which we engaged and the benefits that we got in terms of understanding what was going to work well for staff in those projects will equip us for this one. And the one thing I would say, as Mr. Mueller talks through the many ways in which we're providing information and receiving feedback from staff, is that we anticipate for a short period in May, our staff will be very focused on the delivery of the federal election, and we won't be proposing to communicate with them at that time.
Thank you, Mr.
Makes a lot of sense. And I'll note for my colleagues, the existing offices of the AEC are very much in the CBD, but if you could become more CBD-ish, they are with the move to Narellan Street. So there's great amenity attached to the location you're moving to. Thanks, Chair.
I noticed you didn't put a plug for a move for the AEC into your electorate, Mr. Smith. I note that. So,
there's still time.
Thank you, Chair. If all goes to plan, when do you propose to move into the new premises?
Thank you, Mr. Zapier. The plan, if things go to plan, August 2027 is the planned relocation period.
And if you don't get approval from this committee because Parliament is prorogued, what does that do to your plans, given that then you won't get approval till late 2025?
The intention for the AEC is that we are able to continue to progress with the process.
Yeah, but what does it do to your costings?
Yeah, what does it do to our costings? The hope is nothing significant, because the construction time period will not commence until 2026, which we hope provides us with a significant amount of time to receive approval from the Public Works Committee if Parliament is prorogued. The agreement for lease that we are engaged with the landlord on provides for is contingent on PwC approval as well. And so the hope is that it does not make any significant, does not have any significant impact on costings.
And if you have to relinquish the lease on your Mort Street premises before the 30th of June 2027, does that incur some sort of penalty?
I don't think there's a situation in which we would be looking to relinquish our lease before 30th of June 2027. There is a surrender window that exists.
Yeah, I know you can do it, but,
yeah.
But at what cost?
For the early surrender? Yeah, happy to take that that question in the in-camera hearing.
Okay. Chair, I think that's... I've got some questions for the in-camera part of the hearing. Yep.
Thanks, Mr. Zapier. My final question from me is just about security, and feel free to take some of this up in camera. But in our dealings with DFAT, we've seen their buildings, their approach to security change over the last 20 years that or so that I've been looking at it. You made some comment in your introductory remarks about security, Ms. Spalding. Could you make a general comment about how things are changing and future considerations? And is it a head office concern particularly, or is it more to do with those out in the field, so to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Like all entities in the Commonwealth and beyond, delivering services where you have an interface with the public, the security environment has changed. That change is felt by the AEC in its divisional offices, in polling places, and in state and national office. Be very happy to speak further in the in-camera part of this hearing. What I would say is that the fit-out for national office takes into account improved security arrangements for the AEC, and is one of the ways in which it is therefore beneficial to our staff.
Well, and I will take you up on that opportunity for the in-camera comments, but in terms of public statements about one of our greatest institutions, which is democracy, that surely there are some things you can say that can give assurance to the general public about how, we still have a face-to-face interaction with the Commonwealth public servants on election day and the 2 weeks leading up to election day and the like. So, if there anything you could say that would be appreciated.
Yes. So the AEC staff, including the temporary election workers that come on, some of them for one day to support the delivery of the election, are enthusiastic about undertaking their role. They are also sensitive to the fact that there will be a range of people coming together who do not necessarily all share the same views. And as part of our preparation to deliver the election, we consider in detail the environment, the operating environment broadly that our people will be working in. This is work for them and their workplace. We provide support in relation to how the organisation is structured and operates, and also training which positions our people to manage the situations as effectively as possible, as you say, to ensure that the key focus of the day, allowing citizens to cast their vote, is achieved.
All right. Thank you, Ms Spaulding. And thank you for your attendance here today. You'll be sent a copy of the transcript to make any corrections to the transcription, and I declare this public hearing closed.